When you set up an aquarium, there's always some investment into that aquarium. The tank itself, stand, lighting, rock, decor, whatever you want to do, but the thing that hurts the most when you lose it is your livestock. So today, we are going to be talking about a product that is actually going to help you protect your investment with a little bit of style to it. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are back here at the reef tank in the office. We're still working on building this project out, and we're kind of going through a phase with it, but we're still working on that. It's only been up for a couple weeks, but we're not focusing on that today. So we are focusing on, now that I have fish in this tank to get this tank prepared for coral and everything else down the road, we needed to protect our investment. And I had a very unique opportunity to work in close relations with a local company to me here in Utah called Top Lids. Now, Top Lids creates one of the best quality products that I've ever seen in the industry. And that's right, we are talking about a lid for your aquarium today. So most of the time when you think lids for your aquarium, you're gonna think glass lids, maybe some acrylic lids, kind of what's going on there, some DIY options, but most of the time it's going to be a glass lid. And those work for a lot of the manufactured tanks that have the center brace, so they're prepared for that, they're designed for that. But what happens when you're using a rimless aquarium, right? There's no bracing on this aquarium. And this is where Top Lids comes in. Now, we'll definitely get some close-up good shots of this, but guys, the construction of this is absolutely incredible. So these are full acrylic lids, and the design of these with this mesh is it's clear. So it's designed not to hinder your light from penetrating down to your corals. So that's one of the biggest things and issues with lids is you start using glass lids, acrylic lids, it's gonna block some of that light coming through. But just the overall construction of the lid is just phenomenal. You can have these ultimately designed to any design you want, so it's extremely customizable. So for example, for me, this is the Aquatop tank we're using here. I think it's 18 by 18 by 18, so it's a fairly small tank. You know, but I didn't need much on this. So they did the awesome branding of the Top Lids name on here, laser engraved. This is all done on CNC machines. But then you move down into here, I actually have a feeding port. So I have one feeding port at the center of the tank. Now again though, that feeding port, it's actually big enough for you to fit food into it. How frustrating is it if you had to take this lid on and off every time you wanted to feed, right? I've actually experimented feeding through the mesh, and if you're using, you know, fine pellets, that works, but it still just, this doesn't look good, right? It messes up the mesh. So this feeding port is awesome. It's easy to grab onto, it's easy to remove, it's not a struggle to pop out, it's not a struggle to get in, it's set up perfectly. Now you can also design these lids to be anything you need it to be. So if you want two feeding ports, you want a feeding port in the front, you want a feeding port in the back, you can have that set up. If you want a port for an auto feeder, you can have that set up. Whatever you need this to be. Now the way that my tank is set up, where it has the internal filtration on the back of the tank, I had room to clip the light stand to the tank without any issues. But let's say you needed a space cut out of your lid for your light bar to mount. You can do that. That's how customizable these lids are. So when I got prepared to receive mine, I just measured out the tank. They send you out a specific sheet, very specific measurements they asked for, then they create it to this. So this, even though this is a rimless tank, the lid meshes just right into the tank and looks like it belongs there. So again, these are cut out of acrylic, but the way they do it is there is another company on the market, they will actually send you your lid in kind of like pieces, so it's like a puzzle you have to connect together. This is all one uniform sheet. It's cut out on a CNC machine, so it's going to be very precise, very specific, but the nice thing about it, with that entire one sheet, there's no actual breaking point on the lid. So this one here is a prototype that sent out to me as we were working together, getting things correct. So I did have the very unique opportunity to tour their facility here in Utah, and you will not be disappointed in the product you will receive if you choose to order from Top Lids. So I did receive both of these lids free of charge. This first one was like a prototype that we worked with on the tank, make sure it fit. Then they actually sent me out my actual lid with the branding of Top Lids, the feeding port, everything of that nature. Because they are so precise in their manufacturing process, they asked me not to record anything, not to film anything. So you have to take my word for it that their facility is well kept, it's well oriented, and you will not be disappointed with your experience with top lids. Now, the biggest competitor that they have on the market is you can do your own DIY version of the top, like of a mesh lid, of a top lid kind of a thing, right? I'm saying top lid because that's the brand. But again, that DIY version, I know like Bulk Reef Supply, I think they sell a kit. I think Marine Depot sells a kit. You can kind of make your own kit. Even Bulk Reef Supply, lately what they did is with their kit, they have a new kit to cut into your mesh and install your own feeding port. Now, in my opinion, it's doable, but is it going to look the best? Is it just does it just mesh? I keep saying mesh, and we have mesh. Does it just go with the style of the lid? So what's nice too of these top lids is if you run a much larger tank than I do, if you run a frame tank, all of that can be fit into meet with your tank, with your lid. None of that's going to hinder you from buying a lid from Top Lids if you choose to do so. So if you run a 6-foot Peninsula tank, they will work with you and probably send you 2 separate lids, but it's going to meet up in the middle and just be very seamless. But they can do that. They can manufacture any size lid that you need, just depending on the tank dimensions. For durability, it may be better to do 2 things, but it's all the same. It's all going to be manufactured the same. They actually have lids that have installed moonlighting on them, so it's going to illuminate the tank at night if you wanted to do so. I think they can add additional lights to these. It is endless, the customizable options that you can do. So I, again, thank you to Top Lids for sending me out these products to use on my reef tank. I actually went and toured their facility in March of this year, but because I ended up, had to finish my basement, then by the time I got the tank ready, I've had these lids for a few months, so I do apologize on my delay of getting this out. But guys, this is I'm not disappointed. It was so worth the wait to get the lids in. And then when I finally got the tank set up here in the office, this just fit perfectly with the style I wanted. They are so clean cut, so well done, that you just will absolutely be not disappointed with your purchase if you choose to go with Top Lids. So I highly recommend checking them out. I will be leaving links down in the description below to both their Facebook site and their website, and they have all of their contact information on there. So again, this is a local company to me, one that I absolutely vouch for. These products are absolutely phenomenal. You will not be disappointed in them. Now, I will say, disclosure, they're not necessarily cheap. So you're going to look at the price of the DIY version, then you're going to look at the price of one of these top lids, and it's more expensive, a lot more expensive, but you get a much more superior product. So I recommend checking these out, and if you want to protect your investment in style, absolutely check out Top Lids. So guys, leave me a comment down below. I am curious if you've ever heard of this company, or if you have a specific type of lid that you like to use on your aquariums, whether that be a freshwater, saltwater, frame tank, rimless tank. Always like hearing from you guys. So thank you so much for joining me, and we will talk to you guys in the next one.